Have you ever had a day where it just starts off on the wrong foot? You think it's going to be great, got everything going on in the morning, and then one little thing sets you off. And then you're like totally derailed. You're just kind of like, how do I even recover on this? So I had something like that this morning. Have you ever had a situation where you got something, you're dressed, you're ready to go to work, go ready to school, go out with friends or whatever, and then you're looking yourself in the mirror doing final touches or whatever, and you're like, you know what, something just doesn't quite feel right. Maybe the shirt doesn't look right. I had that where this morning I had a shirt on and it started feeling tight. I'm like, I am not sitting in this for 8 hours today. So of course you go back to your room and you're throwing off that shirt and you're putting on something else and you go check that one out. Well, then there's something wrong with that one. So you do it all over again and you do it again. I did this about 4 times this morning. I'm sitting there ready to start packing lunch and head out the door. And then I decide I'm going to change what I'm wearing. And I hadn't planned for this. And every time I pulled a shirt out, there's grease from the laundry machine, from the washer machine, or oh wait, I grabbed a shirt that needs to be washed, or whatever the issue is, or it's too wrinkled, I don't have time to get this ironed out, whatever it was. You guys, I spent 5 minutes this morning trying to find the right shirt to wear, and I ended up saying I'm just wearing a t-shirt. So this is what I wore all day long, and I was totally fine with that. But what got me thinking was what makes us do that? Now that yes, there's an aspect of self-respect and wanting to look nice for whatever the situation is. And I'm not knocking that at all because I had that this morning. But I think the question is what happens in our mind when we're going through this? What is it we're telling ourselves? Are we simply looking let me ask you this. When you have that situation, because I know I'm not the only person in the world that has. So when it's happened to you, what's going through your mind? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Yes, it's an inconvenience to mess up your morning routine and change what you're wearing. I did that this morning, and then suddenly my hair was looking good, and then it started getting all messed up. Had to start all over again, and just the whole mess. I understand all that. Aside from the aspect of self-respect and wanting to look good in that regard, what's going through your mind when you are saying something doesn't look right, doesn't feel right? That in and of itself is fine. But are you then saying, I can't believe I can't even find clothes to wear? I can't even believe this clothes doesn't fit me. Man, now I knew I should have done more exercise over the winter time. And now I knew I gave up on my New Year's resolution because I wanted to get in better shape, wanted to lose some weight. Now I'm paying the price. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I gave up on it again. I can't finish anything. See what happened right there? You go from a normal everyday experience of needing to change clothes because something's not working to suddenly derailing everything about yourself. It goes from 0 to 100 like that. That's what we want to be aware of. Emotional intelligence is a big word that's out there for the last couple of years, and there's a lot of value to that. Emotional intelligence is basically being self-aware, aware of what you're thinking, aware of what you're feeling, and aware of what you are telling yourself as a result. And when you are able to develop the skills to be able to stop that brain wreck before it takes you on a big ride, that is emotional intelligence. It doesn't happen overnight. It's very intentional to develop these skills, to learn how to slow yourself down. And that's what I get to do as a life coach, but that's what I want to share with you as well. I want to share with you right now just that example of this morning and see how that relates to you. And when that happens for you, what are you telling yourself? What attachment have you made to a situation? Because when you start judging yourself, you've made an emotional attachment to something. And suddenly the events and the emotion are all twisted together. And to be emotionally intelligent is to be able to separate the two and look at them for each for their own worth, each for their own situation. I did a video last week that I'll link to about, and that one was called, but about not fitting in. I'm not going to measure up. It's about the comparison trap, and this is all part of that. When we get into situations where we have an everyday common experience that is universal, but we turn it against ourselves. When you turn against yourself, which is what negative self talk is, you're turning against yourself. And that is self defeating. You are beating yourself up, and you may not even be aware of it. Emotional intelligence allows you to start raising that awareness. I'm going to get into this more with some future videos, but I wanted to just mention that I had that experience this morning. It kind of set me off for a little bit. I had to sit there and kind of regroup for the morning and not let what happened at the house interfere with, in my interactions with people at work. But it also gets into self-acceptance. It gets into, am I okay wearing a t-shirt and shorts for the day? Or am I beating myself up for that? And there are a lot of times that we look at ourselves and we see and think others see more than they do. And again, that gets to self acceptance, which also ties back to the comparison trap, which also ties back into not measuring up. So, we're going to get into that more in future videos. I'm going to link to the one I did last week to take a look at that and let me know in the comments what are some things that you struggle with that you feel where you don't measure up. And how do you interact with yourself on a day like today, like I had today? When something's not working out, I now have a pile of clothes on my bed that I have to go deal with tonight because I was in a hurry and one shirt wasn't working. I threw it off and added the next one. But I want to hear in the comments, what are some things that you're running into? What are some things you see? And what helps you not beat yourself up as a result? Have a great one.